Network Entertainment.
When public opinion goes a certain way, makikinig sila. Of course, it just has to be massive. Kailangan talaga malawakan. Otherwise, they can say, wala yan, konti lang yung mga nagsasabi. So it has to be almost universal. We have to be united. There has to be consensus na lahat ng sangkot dapat mapanagot, makulong, makonvict as long as there's evidence. At kung may evidence tapos hindi na-convict, that's questionable. Diba?
Hello to everyone all over the world. Magkakasama na naman tayo sa isang gabing puno ng tawanan, kwentuhan na may onting seryosong diskusyon. Ito ang Ganito Kasi Yan, powered by the Pod Network. At kasama nyo pa rin ang breadwinner baby boy ng Rizal na talagang pagod na, sawang-sawa na sa kakabayad ng tax sa mga naririnig na headlines natin araw-araw sa dami ng mga pasabog and all. Ako lang to, si Lance. At for this episode, makakasama natin ang isang public interest lawyer na sigurado ko at one point or another lumitaw siya sa mga Facebook or Twitter video. Ako lang, at ito, nawala ng iba kundi si Attorney Jess Falsis. Hello po, Attorney. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Lance. Hello sa lahat ng mga viewers or listeners nyo.
Okay. First of all, Attorney, since I think one way or another, pag nababanggit din, nung sinabi ko po na, mag-guest si Attorney Fancy sa podcast namin this Saturday, is lagi kayong may post on the latest news of the day. Hindi ba kayo napapagod?
Hindi pwede mapagod eh. Napapagod ako. Totoo lang. Pero hindi tayo pwede mapagod na yung titigil tayo, di ba? Pag napagod ako, I just recharge, matutulog, or iinom ng kape, iinom ng tsaa, kakain ng masarap na para makabawi ng energy. Pero yung pagod na mapapapigil or mapapatigil ako, parang hindi eh. Kasi everyday, bawat araw, kailangan nating lumaban because tayo yung binabaha, tayo yung napapagod, tayo yung naapektuhan. So, kung mapapagod ka kasi yung talagang titigil ka, ano yan eh, ikaw matatalo kasi ang masama, ang kasamaan, hindi yan napapagod. They will always want more profit, they will always want more power, they will always try to intentionally or unintentionally step on other people because that's the only way to get the money and the power that they want.
Right, Attorney. And siguro, in a scale of 1 to 10, like, sa developments ngayon sa balita natin kay Marcos and all, as of we are recording this today, may pasabog na naman si Zaldico. In a scale of 1 to 10, gaano kayo high blood today?
Today, wala. Masyadong lang, mga parang 7 or 8 lang.
7 or 8.
Kasi may mga magaganda ding balita. Like, I don't know if nabasa mo, si Mayor Lenny just said she will join and appear sa November 30 rally. So, kahit na may mga pampa-high blood kanina, sometimes there are also good news, no? Kahit last week, kahit weeks ago, may bad news, may good news. And so far, yung accountability na hinahanap naman natin, yung mga kaso, ano na yan, umuusad na yan eh. So, ilang buwan din tayo nag-antay, but we just need to wait a bit more. Other bigger cases will come out. So far, meron na yung warrant of arrest kay Zaldico, and si Zaldico may mga sarili siyang pasabog. We will just have to take the good with the bad or the bad with the good. Every day, may good news or bad news, we just have to take it.
Well, one day at a time nga naman. Well, yun, parang more of briefer or at least catch up sa latest news of the day as of Monday. But para sa context ng Podmates natin, this will air a day before the November 30 rally na sana mas malawakan at pangmalakihan. But siguro mas refresher na rin, 129 days ito after sumabog yung bilyong-bilyong flood control project scandal after nung SONA ni BBM. Patuloy pa rin yung investigasyon ng ICI na sana naman mag-live na sila anytime soon. Kakasampa lang ng Ombudsman ng unang batch ng charges against Zaldico et al. Sa project sa Oriental Mindoro. At kaka-aresto lang din as of today ng 7 na DPWH officials. Pero wala pa rin politikong napapanagot. Sa ngayon, attorney, anong masasabi niyo po dun sa takbo ng investigation natin so far and investigation ng gobyerno rather, para mapanagot tong mga opisyal na sangkot sa flood control scam?
Well, ano kasi yan multifaceted, no? Hindi siya simpleng usapan. We cannot simplistically say na, naku, wala pang napapanagot, ang ganito, ganyan, no? Of course, para mapanagot talaga yung mga kailangan mapanagot, we require evidence. So, kailangan talaga natin bantayan kung mayroong witnesses, kung mayroong documents, or kung mayroong other available evidence, electronic or testimonial, kung ano man yan, to really pin down these people. No? So hindi enough na meron tayong narinig, merong nagsalita, pag hindi yan pinanumpaan, pag hindi yan willing maging witness in a court proceeding or just before the DOJ or ombudsman para makapagkaso sila sa court, talagang walang mapapanagot. So, it's up to us, ang ano natin dyan, participation as the people, no, is to continuously monitor and be vigilant and pressure. Yung ano kasi natin dyan as the people, tayo yung boss ng mga politiko tsaka boss ng mga government officials who are tasked to enforce and deliver accountability, no, like si ombudsman. Siyempre, gagalaw lang yan kung may public pressure. And so far, gumagalaw naman to the extent na merong available evidence. Yung mga wala pang available evidence, no, like let's say for example, gusto nating panagutin. Let's just say si former Speaker Martin Romualdez, ang problema natin, wala tayong direct witness to implicate him so far. Kasi si Orly Gutesa, hindi siya nagpapakita ulit. So, tayo as the public, ang pressure natin is for the government to make sure na the crucial witnesses reappear kung talagang totoo yung sinasabi nila. Kung hindi naman totoo, kasi nga may questions din about the credibility of Orly Gutesa, nandun din tayo as the public to say na dapat, kung hindi siya credible, hindi siya kunin na sa witness. Pero pakinggan siya, i-cross-examine or i-vet, i-double check yung kanyang testimony with other available evidence. Kasi ang problema kay Sir Orly Gutesa, hindi pa nga nagpapakita ulit. But compared to the other witnesses like sina Yusek Bernardo, sina Henry Alcantara, sina Bryce Hernandez, may mga napakita silang mga documents or photos or ledgers or computer logs, yung mga Excel sheet siguro nila or mga files to corroborate yung kanilang testimony. Kasi syempre, ang testimony, ang ating mga sinasabi, ano yan, admissible naman yan as evidence. But, syempre, it is hard to believe words alone. May cases that succeed based on words alone, no? Like, rape cases, mahirap naman yung magkaroon ng documentary or CCTV footage, no? So, it's really a case based on the victim's testimony. But, etong mga corruption kasi, usually dapat may paper trail yan, may money trail, hindi naman magically out of nowhere, bigla mo lang madideliver yung billions. Kahit in cash yan, kahit quote-unquote walang paper trail, na-withdraw mo pa din yan, baka na-picturean mo, baka may ibang tao who can corroborate. So, as the people, going back to the main point, no, yun yung ating participation as the people to ensure that the government does not cover up anything. Kapag may evidence, kapag may witness, i-investigate, i-double check, i-verify, i-vet. Tapos, pag talagang totoo, hindi pwedeng cover up. Kailangan makasuhan na in-implicate sa flood control, dapat makasuhan. And this goes for anyone. President, Vice President, Senate President, Speaker, Senator, Congressman, DPWH, DBM, DNR. Kasi itong flood control, di ba, hindi na nga lang DPWH yan eh. It involves everyone, like the environment sa DNR. May mga recent issues about flood control. So, yun ang ating role and responsibility as the people.
Parang kasi ang nangyayari din ngayon, attorney, is parang ang dami nagkasalita. Like, lahat sila gustong kumanta. Parang may singing contest na nangyayari sa ngayon. Pero yung talagang visual evidence na, for example, yung pinakita ni na Bryce Hernandez nung sa Senate hearing na talagang limpak-limpak yung mga pera. And ngayon nakaizaldi ko na yung mga maleta naman na under question. Parang kumbaga, hindi na lang din sapat na yung singing contest kasi magkakabingian and sobrang ingay na lang din and hindi natin alam kung anong katotohanan pa yung paniniwalaan natin dito. Ayun.
Si Zaldi ko naman, maganda yon kung meron talaga siyang pictures, documents, tsaka yung kanyang testimony. Ang problema, hindi siya pwede gamitin. Kasi kung ang gusto natin ay pananagutan, kailangan umuwi siya. Kailangan manumpa siya, panumpaan niya, no, para liable siya for perjury kung kasinungalingan ng mga sinasabi niya, di ba? Kailangan magkaroon siya ng consequence or impact yung kanyang mga sinasabi. Hindi pwedeng online lang. Of course, may threats to his safety or security, but there are many ways para maging admissible yung kanyang testimony even abroad, no? Like ipapa-consularize niya or magno-notarize siya before a consular or diplomatic official kung nasaan man siya. So, kapag gusto, madaming paraan. But you are correct, madami talagang noise. So, it's also up to us, the people, to filter out what is real, what is noise, what is propaganda, what is manufactured scandal, what is the truth. But ako, what I can tell you is, based on just listening to everything that has come out so far, just my opinion, it's really that everyone is corrupt. 99%. When I say everyone, of course, not literally, no? But the system talaga as a whole is corrupt. Everyone from the foot soldiers to the kings and queens of the flood control to the decision makers to the middlemen, lahat nabahiran. So it's really hard to hold everyone accountable. Otherwise, baka gumuho yung gobyerno. So there's also a need to prioritize, no? Siguro kailangan talaga habulin natin the biggest fishes, no? Yung mga nasa taas, yung mga mastermind. Kasi otherwise, we can get bogged down by the noise na itong maliit na ganyan, itong middleman na ganyan. Okay yun, papanagutin din natin sila. Pero kailangan magka-prioritization. Ang uunahin mo talaga yung mga pinagkatiwalaan natin, ng boto natin. Yung iba kasi hindi binoto, di ba? So, of course, there's still government officials, they're still accountable, pero iba yung accountability ng mga binoto natin.
Since you've mentioned nga na going after the biggest fish and yung parang pinakamalaking ulo naman dapat talaga dito is yung mga elected officials natin. At kung everyone is corrupt, nakakapagod isipin na from the lowest ranks of the government to the highest ranks, may sangkot dyan in one way or another. And yung pinakamalaking pasabog nga so far in the recent weeks was yung 100 billion pesos allocation allegation ng insertion ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos Jr. na sinabi ni Zaldico na yung mga mali-maleta nga. Pero mismong si Pangulong Marcos din, yung nagsabi na magpapasko sa kulungan tong mga opisyal na dawit na kahit yung mismong pinsan niyang si ex-Speaker Romualdez, parang balak niya pa atang pakasuhan sa ngayon. Sa tingin niyo ba, attorney, may credibility pa ba? Or pwede pa bang paniwalaan si Marcos Jr. kung siya mismo tinuturong dawit dito ni Zaldico?
Well, ganito yan Prangkahan, alam naman natin na corrupt ang Marcos family noon pa. That's why 2016 campaigns, 2022 campaigns, lumabas na yung mga issue na yan. Tapos, hindi pa nagbabayad ng taxes. On record yan sa isang Supreme Court decision, si Bongbong Marcos. So, it's not surprising, no? Pero ganito yan kung we're looking at it realistically, di ba? Una, nakaupo na siya presidente na siya So, binoto na siya ng ibang tao. Ako, I didn't vote for him. So, nandiyan na siya sa posisyon. What does that mean? Kung siya ang dahilan at paraan para mapanagot yung ibang bigger fishes, sa ngayon, sa ibang tao sa ngayon, acceptable yon na, sige, basta habulin niya talaga, walang cover-up. Kung ano man yung credibility issues niya, iisintabi na yun Kasi noon pa siyang incredible The pudding will be in the results. Diba? The proof is in the pudding. Kapag may results, list kung credible si BBM or not, we should support yung prosecution. Not BBM We should support the cases. As to PBBM himself, kung hindi siya credible or dawit din siya, his own time will come. Just look at President Duterte, di ba? It's hard to hold accountable yung nakaupong Pangulo kasi meron niyang immunity from suit, and then of course, he is in control of all the powers of the state or the government. So, paano mo siya papanagutin? May immunity from suit siya. So, does that mean wala siyang pananagutan? Hindi. Like President Duterte, yung pananagutan comes after. Pag tapos ng termino niya, kung talagang inosente siya, he can just defend himself in court, di ba? Or, kung ang pananagutan na gusto ng iba, ngayon na kagad, they can try to impeach BBM. But that is a political question, not just a legal question, because meron niyang kaakibat kagad na paano yung kay Sara.
Yun nga.
Because si Sara meron ding sariling credibility in a vacuum. We always have to look at them together. Kasi kahit nag-aaway sila ngayon, binoto sila together. Di ba? Unity team sila pinasok sa kapangyarihan. Baka dapat unity team din sila ilalabas sa kapangyarihan because they were voted together as a tandem. If the boat is sinking, hindi pwedeng yung Pangulo lang yung mawawala or yung vice lang yung mawawala. Baka dapat simultaneous the boat is sinking.
Ayun nga. And I think parang I think medyo hindi kasi nagme-make sense if you think of it na presidente ka na eh. Oo, sige, corrupt yung pamilya mo. Pero binalik mo yung pangalan ng tatay mo sa Malacanang, tapos magpapahuli ka ng ganyan-ganyan lang. And mismong ikaw yung mag-expose ng isang skandalo na ikaw rin pala yung sangkot. Parang yung ganitong sense na it doesn't make sense at all if you think of it. And I think the opinion right now, as I see it right now is, minsan, yung ibang tao, they are somehow reluctant supporters of this president in order to keep the vice president from not holding her power in Malacanang after. Wouldn't you agree on that? If you think of it, attorney, hindi ba parang hindi nagme-make sense na ikaw na yung presidente, yung pamilya mo, pinatapon sa Hawaii, nakabalik kayo sa kapangyarihan, tapos madudulas ka lang ng ganyan sa skandalo? Tapos ikaw yung mag-e-expose ng sariling skandalo na ikaw din pala tayo masasangkot o ikaw yung nasa likod? Hindi ba siya nagme-make sense at all if you think of it?
Madami ng analysis, if not speculation, bakit siya yung maglalabas ng flood control. And there are good reasons why siya yung naglabas na wala siyang dawit, but there are also some logical analysis na kaya lang niya nilabas, baka gusto lang niya unahan yung issue, 'di ba? There's many reasons why he would come out with the issue, no? On face value, I would agree, face value, that it sounds logical na hindi niya ilalabas yung flood control scandal kung dawit siya. On face value. But of course, given that there are some allegations coming out na involved din siya sa flood control, and hindi lang flood control, by the way, kasi yung dinadawit sa kanya, buong budget. Meaning, yung insertions, ibang issue yun sa flood control lang. May flood control insertions sa budget, meron ding general insertions like non-flood control projects sa budget na allegedly may kickback siya. For now, hindi credible pa yung allegations na yung mga yun kasi hindi naman under oath, tsaka may inconsistency doon sa testimony ni Zaldico because he says wala siyang tinanggap. And yet, that cannot be reasonable given billions ang dumadaan sa'yo, wala kang cut. Diba? Tapos si Orly Gutesa, ang sinabi naman ni Orly Gutesa, may cut si Zaldico. May iniiwan na luggages sa kanya. So, my point here is, there is good basis to think that walang kinalaman si BBM sa flood control, but that is not 100% foolproof na logic. Because, okay, kahit wala siyang kinalaman sa flood control, baka may kinalaman siya sa ibang kalokohan.
Baka hindi natin sigurado in a few months, masasabi na lang natin, it runs in the blood na lang talaga yung pangungurap. But,
baka nga in the coming week, baka this coming week madami pang lalabas. Kanina lumabas yung kay Zaldico, pero alam ko madami pang ilalabas ang mga DDS forces or forces aligned with the Dutertes, na they will still try to come out with a lot of and more direct evidence trying to link BBM to a certain corruption issue, not necessarily flood control.
Flood control. And since we're down on the side of the DDS, parang ang 180-degree turn din nung pagturing nila ngayong bayani kay Saldico, na sinabi nyo nga naghugas kamay na. And yun din, may mga pinuput forward silang narrative against the president himself. Pero Saldico, I would say, is like the Chavit Singson if Marcos was ERAP. But do you think that there is really credibility considering na hindi pa siya umuwi sa bansa and ang ginagawa niya is he is appealing to the court of public opinion?
Si Saldico kasi is trying to be like Chavit Singson, but he is not. One, because he is abroad. Unlike Chavit, who said na may threat to his life and an attempted assassination, Chavit was here and testified about that attempted assassination personally on live TV while being here in the country. One. Second, si Chavit kasi, he didn't say he's clean. Hindi sinabi ni Chavit na malinis siya. Sinabi ni Chavit noon na part siya ng wetting operations, na nakakakuha din siya or nagbe-benefit din siya from the proceeds ng illegal wetting. So, yung credibility niya went up because he would know. He would be able to tell on the operations and sino yung mga involved sa operation, sino nagbe-benefit sa operation, kung siya mismo either yung bagman or yung isa sa mga leader ng sindikato, kaso may mas mataas daw, which is former President ERAP. Sa kaso na to, Saldico keeps saying, kahit kanina, sa bago niyang video, na wala siyang nakuha. And that will sound unbelievable to many normal Filipinos because kung billions of pesos ang dumadaan sa'yo, maleta ng pera, imposibleng wala kang kukuning share mo sa quote-unquote hard work mo. Ikaw yung nagtatrabaho para mag-deliver. Diba? Ano yan meron yung risk. Delikado para sa isang tao na mag-deliver ng billions of pera. Paano kung mahuli ka? Paano kung merong makatiktik? Diba? Paano kung may mawala na luggage doon? Di ikaw yung lagot doon sa dideliveran mo. Diba? Magagalit pa sa iyo yung dinideliveran mo. Kung may kulang, kung may bawas. And yung, let's say yung boss mo, sigurado bibigyan ka ng share mo. Kasi iisipin niya, magnanakaw itong magdi-deliver sa akin kung hindi ko siya bibigyan ng share niya. So it just doesn't make logical sense. That's why his credibility is not going up and is being questioned even by reasonable people na anti-Marcos to begin with. Yung mga original na anti-Marcos, bago naging anti-Marcos yung mga DDS, hindi sila makapaniwala kay Saldico fully. Kasi may kasinungalingan Hindi ka panipaniwala na wala siyang cut.
And I think yun nga rin yung nangyayari na parang may ulterior motives. And hindi lang si Saldico po Kasi if you think of it, yung mga witness sa side ng DDS or at least yung pinupush nila, parang mga nag-audition sa The Voice at sila yung maging state witness. We have Saldico, yung mag-asawang Diskaya, na ultimo kahit in-auction na yung mga kotse nila, nilalaban pa rin ng isang senador. At si Orly Gutesa nga na ngayon na hindi pa rin mahanap-hanap. Parang would you say, attorney, na etong mga taong ito, etong na pinuput forward ng anti-Marcos ng mga DDS, talaga bang may matutulong sila substantially sa investigasyon considering that they might have ulterior motives o may pinagtatakpan sila? O parang tanim witness lang to just to benefit the narrative ng mga nasa Duterte camp?
As I've said, usually the best witnesses are those with ulterior motives, either to save their own skin or dahil gagantihan nila yung naglaglag sa kanila. So that's the benefit muna for the Filipino people na lahat ng mga korap na to, naglalaglagan, nilalaglag nila ang isa't isa. So mas madami tayong nalalaman. But, tama ka dun sa punto na there will be scripted or manufactured parang revelations na pag tiningnan mo naman, pag pinag-aralan mo, upon closer scrutiny, it doesn't stand up or hold in court. Kasi tayo, ayaw natin magkaroon ng mga kaso na ipa-file, tapos weak cases pala, yung basehan kasi parang gawa-gawa lang or peke-peke, tanim-tanim witness lang, madi-dismiss lang yung kaso. Ma-acquit lang yung accused. So, babalik tayo dun sa sinasabi ko na as the people, yun ang to monitor and to pressure the relevant government officials like the DOJ or the Ombudsman to filter and sift or vet properly kung sino talaga yung mga dapat paniwalaan, because everybody will have their ulterior motives. We can use that to our advantage para maglaglagan sila. Pero that doesn't mean na we will believe everything that they say because they have ulterior motives. So yung magiging narrative nila, baka half-truth. Baka sasabihin nila yung katotohanan na maglalaglag sa kabila, pero meron pa silang hindi sinasabi to protect yung mga kaalyado nila. Like when you mentioned the Discayas or si Orly Gutesa, wala ka masyadong maririnig na mga quote-unquote pro-Duterte congressmen or pro-Duterte na senators, which seems impossible given certain facts and context like Bongo having CLTG builders ng kanyang family, joint venture with the Discayas, tapos walang SOP or walang bid rigging or walang kickback scheme ang mga Discayas sa joint ventures nila with the family of Bongo. That doesn't sound logical if sabi ng Discayas halos lahat ng projects nila may SOP or bid rigging. So that's how we should approach it. Ulterior motives, yes, everyone has that. Everyone will have their own agenda, but we should use that to our advantage without being fooled by the disadvantages.
Right. And since we're talking about narratives, whether they are scripted or they are actually authentic ones, and nakita natin yung, I guess, in the past few months, yung kabi-kabilang narratives ng Duterte camp, na which you mentioned already, and even sa administration in their fight against corruption. Pero as normal citizens, attorney, how can we see through the lines and talagang hindi tayo maligaw sa laban ng accountability and hindi matabunan at malito tayo nitong mga pinapakalat nilang propaganda at iba't ibang agenda?
Well, so that's why you have key opinion leaders like sina Congressman Chel Jokno or sina Senator Risa, sina Mayor Leni Robredo, Mayor Vico Soto, who was one of the original talaga, or if not the original, na nag-expose sa mga Discayas, people who have the credibility to talk about the issue and tell us what's true or not kasi hindi sila implicated or they have a track record of good governance. So that's how we filter what's true or not or what's manufactured or not. We have to listen to the people who have the track record of being clean, of doing well in government, of not being corrupt, and not tolerating corruption in any form by other people, kaalyado or kaaway. Talagang lahat lang tinitingnan nila whether it's right or wrong. Of course, iba-iba ang rules niyan, di ba? Sa mga mayor, they do it at the local level. We don't expect them to have exposés or to have privileged speeches against national politicians. But if at the local level they're doing well, they have good governance, they have the credibility to talk about national issues, and we should listen to them. Tapos din naman sa mga national level na politicians like congressman or senator who are not implicated at all but who have good track records as well in terms of promoting good governance, like si Congressman Attorney Chel Jokno, we should listen to them, how they see things and approach things because they have a good track record. Siyempre, yung mga hindi natin papakinggan is yung mga mukhang selective biases or track record-wise na accused na sila noon ng pork barrel scandal or ng other corruption issues, and yet ngayon parang sila yung anti-corruption crusader. Hindi lang sila napanagot noon because if we notice, dati mga senador lang yung napanagot tapos napalaya pa. Yung mga congressman dahil masyado yatang madami or because of other issues, I can't really say, hindi sila nakasuhan unfortunately. But many, hindi ko napapangalanan, many talking heads, yung mga may ingay nationally, have corruption allegations in the past.
Right. And yung mahirap nga lang din, attorney, is kahit sabihin natin na meron tayong mga key opinion leaders na malinis ang track record Pero sila pa yung, again, na-fall victim ng propaganda. I remembered last week ata, parang sabi sa mga DDS pages, may 51 names na lumabas na inimplicate si Zaldico, Chel Jokno, Bam Aquino, Kiko Pangilinan, na ultimong hindi nga elected official from 2022 to 2025. At ultimong si General Torre na ano nalaman ng isang general doon, parang dinutungisan pa, imbes na parang dinadamay na lang lahat para lang mapropagate yung kung anong gusto nilang agenda.
Ganun talaga, there is a war for the hearts and minds of the Filipino people. So with this interview and with your help in the small way that I can also talk about things, that's how I will urge people to assess things. Na if wala silang corruption allegation before, mas maniwala sila doon. Tapos kung merong attempts or propaganda to smear their name, i-double check nila, i-fact check nila, i-research nila kung totoo. Kasi nga baka fake news, which is fake news as to the ones that Zaldico allegedly implicated, because they can just go to the Facebook of Zaldico and just look kung sino lang yung mga ini-implicate ni Zaldico. And again, sinabi mo na it doesn't make logical sense for the others na implicated kasi hindi naman sila part ng budget process or elected official from the 2022 to the 2025 period.
Ayun nga. And since you've also mentioned that we are at war, sabi nga rin ni BBM sa isa sa kanyang mga recent statements, ako ang nagsimula at ako ang magtatapos. And parang Game of Thrones ata o House of Cards sa Netflix tong pinapanood natin. But honestly, attorney, how do you see this end? How do you see yung siguro season finale man lang sana nitong flood control scandal natin ngayon?
There are three realistic options. The first is BBM stays as president. We will see more prosecution or arrest of people implicated or accused in the flood control scandal and other corruption investigations, because even though BBM is implicated, majority, I think, of Filipinos, especially those who have the power to like create the conditions for an EDSA tres or a people power tree, are not willing to move because there is a more corrupt replacement, if ever, or successor in the person of Vice President Sara Duterte. That's the first realistic option.
The most realistic, I think.
The second option is that more evidence comes out implicating PBBM, and even the people in the middle who are not DDS, who are not Marcos loyalists, who are not Pinklawans, just the general majority of the Filipinos, kasi based on a survey, 30% to 40% identify as independents or do not identify as either, dun sa tatlo, might come out and rally and protest and create the conditions for a people power tree or EDSA tres. If that happens, it can create two sub options, so kaya tatlo yung realistic. The first, the second, the first sub option, 2A is magkakaroon ng caretaker government or transition council. Worst case na yon, that's the worst case. I don't think that is likely to happen, but there are people who are pushing for it.
Yes.
That's why you will hear sa balita may mga fino-float na idea, mga testing balloon like Ramon Ang, heading a caretaker government, etc. Lahat yan trial balloon yan. They are testing the sentiment of the public. So far, hindi siya bumibenta sa tao. The other option is, kung magkaroon ng malakihang rally, creating the conditions for a people poverty, it will be a constitutional option, but
Impeachment.
without the vice president succeeding. I don't think an EDSA test or a people poverty will allow the vice president to succeed. Ang magiging panawagan dyan is resign both. Resign both president and vice president. And then magkakaroon ng acting president based on the Constitution, Section 8, Section 10, Article 7 of the Constitution. If both resign, simultaneous or mauna si VP tapos mawala din si BBM, mag-resign, may vacancy, magkaka-special elections, and the Senate President will assume the role of an acting president habang wala pang elections or special elections for both positions. So, yun lang yung ending eh. Those are the only possible ending. Kasi yung impeachment, I think that's unlikely. Lalo na kung if you try to impeach the president, so far, madami pa siyang kaalyado. Baka magka-fourth option or this is the real third option kasi the first option, the second option, AB, and then the third option is impeach Sara by February, mawala siya, and then Marcos resign. Lahat mag-unite after ma-impeach si Sara. Kasi ngayon, ang magma-Marcos resign lang is the DDS eh. Hindi sila sasamahan ng mga
far left.
Ang far left, hindi sila Marcos resign lang eh. Ang far left, ano na sila ngayon eh? Resign both.
Resign on.
So, when I say, pag na-impeach si Sara at talagang na-convict siya or na-disqualify siya, lahat na ng tao mag-unite. Kasi ngayon, ang DDS lang yung Marcos resign lang. Wala silang Sara resign, ang mga DDS. So iba pa din yun sa hard left or sa mga militants sa Makabayan Bloc. So those are the options and lahat yan magulo.
Totoo.
Yung first option na siguro yung pinaka hindi magulo, which is BBM stays, mananagot at papanagutin na lang siya after his term ends.
So, well, to put it TLDR, it's either status quo ng admin, may mapapanagot, or acting president Vicente Soto III in a few months, or I don't know, mag-resign pareho and yung People's Council nga. And how about attorney yung military junta? Kasi may mga chatter eh. I guess si Senator Ping Lacson din binanggit rin niya today na there are calls from the military to have that. But I think yung military junta or even your People's Council na sinasabi ng mga militant groups, they are both unconstitutional. Wala sa konstitusyon natin yung ganyang provisions. Do you think na may kahit katiting na chance na posible mag-succeed yung mga ganyang ways na wala sa konstitusyon natin?
Duda ako eh. Kasi a military junta will not succeed without the support of the people. Hindi sila gagalaw unless the people support it. And the people, I don't think, are likely to support a military junta. Because one, it's dangerous. Diba? You never know when they will give the democracy back. Pag military junta na ang in power, like in other countries, Southeast Asia pa lang, diba? Kahit sa Thailand, malaki ang impact ng mga naging kudeta or military junta. Kahit ngayon parang mukhang democracy ulit ang Thailand, malaki pa din yung damage na naiwan ng military junta. And I don't think the military as a whole want to lead, no? Because they know it's not for them. Meron lang talaga yung ang mga active kasi diyan mag-promote ng military junta, yung mga wala sa posisyon, yung mga wala sa power, yung mga retired na parang gusto yata maging appointed kaso hindi ina-appoint ni BBM or hindi ina-appoint ni BBM noon nung nanalo kaya ngayon galit. I mean, that's the real talk eh. You talk about ulterior motives kanina, a few minutes ago. Ganun yan eh. Why would they want to destabilize the government? It's because they're not benefiting. That's the short and sweet of it. Kahit sabihin pa nila para sa bayan, para sa bayan. Ang totoo dyan, pag tinignan mo kung sino yung mga players behind the destabilization efforts, madami dyan mga hindi na-appoint o hindi pinagbigyan. Plangkahan lang.
Gets? Parang ano na lang, parang may mga grudges na lang talaga sila against this administration. Thus, they're in favor of having a junta na baka yung si Sara lang din naman ang makikinabang.
Eventually. Yun ang nasa utak nila.
Pero I think, attorney, na etong ganitong eksena na to, although nagka-pause nung panahon ni Duterte kasi mukhang he stifled opposition and dissent during his time, pero we've seen this film before. With Duterte, medyo tahimik lang kasi he stifled opposition. Pero we've had Pinoy and the pork barrel scam, Arroyo and BNCTE, yung mga skandalo during that time, and even the threat of a military coup, and ERAP, EDSA 2, and Cory with EDSA 1 and all. But parang sa dulo kasi nangyayari is ongoing pa rin yung kaso o acquittal ng mga politiko at yung mga rank and file yung nasangkot yung nakukulong. I guess the essential question is, bakit kaya ang hirap po magpakulong ng mga kurakot sa bansa? Lalo na yung mga sangkot dito sa flood control. Bakit parang ang hirap magpakulong ng mga kurakot?
Well, sa flood control naman, hindi mahirap, no? It just takes time. So, hindi natin pwede madaliin. Pero, lalabas na yan. Sunod-sunod na yan after the Zaldico case. Yung sa mga nakaraan naman, ako ang panawagan ko lang as a public interest lawyer, even if I'm a lawyer, and even if the Supreme Court is the highest court of the land and we are officers of the court, no? As someone still entitled to freedom of speech, I have to give that disclaimer kasi. And the Constitution is still higher than the Supreme Court. The Filipino people, tayo, we also have to look at the role of the judiciary. Bakit parang yung tanong mo na, bakit ang hirap magpakulong or mag-convict? Kasi madami sa mga pork barrel cases, lalo na yung mga senador, hindi DOJ, hindi ombudsman, hindi pangulo or mga senators ang nagpalaya sa mga senador. Ang nagpalaya dyan, from GMA to Enrile, to Jinggoy, and sino pa tong isa?
Bong Revilla.
To Bong Revilla are the courts. So, the Filipino people also need to look at the role of the judiciary in enforcing accountability. I don't believe that those cases were weak. I don't believe those cases were weak because ang titingnan lang dyan ng isang any critical lens, no? Kunwari academic. So, this is not me diminishing the confidence of the people in the courts. This is me looking at the court decisions with a critical lens for an academic purpose, no? Just so that we can learn from history. GMA was acquitted because nagkaroon ng bagong invented doctrine ang Supreme Court na kailangan may main plunderer, the main plunderer doctrine, which is nowhere in the law. Wala siya sa plunder law. That's why if you listen to Ombudsman Boying Remulla, he doesn't like filing cases of plunder because Remulla knows the plunder law is a dead letter law in a sense because it is so difficult to get a conviction for that. Mas madali daw, and I agree, to get a conviction for malversation. And you know why it's not easy to get a conviction for plunder? Because the Supreme Court created that jurisprudence or decision inventing a new doctrine which is not in the law. Of course, the justices and those who supported that decision will defend that decision. I am on the other side, no? Like many Supreme Court decisions, hindi porket Supreme Court decision yan, tama yan. It can always be questioned and critically looked at by history and by academics and by the public if that decision was right or wrong. We all know that from history. Ang daming mga Supreme Court decisions, US or the Philippines, na when you look at it right now, mali siya. In the past, tama siya. Because maybe nobody questioned or yun yung context nung panahon noon. Like same-sex marriage, bawal yan noon. Abortion rights in the United States, bawal yan noon. Tapos inalaw, tapos pinagbawal
Binagbawal.
ulit recently, di ba? So, ang point lang dyan, it doesn't mean it's a Supreme Court decision that it is 100% absolutely right. We just follow the Supreme Court decision because they are the final arbiter, di ba? It is the final court. And so, as a respect for the rule of law, we will follow it. But it doesn't mean it's correct. That's why a future case can reverse or overthrow the old precedent. So anong point nito? Ang point nito, yung sa tanong mo, the public has not looked at the role of the judiciary as much as we have scrutinized the DPWH, the senators, the congressman, etc. So kung mahirap magpakulong, mahirap mag-convict, hindi na yan sa DOJ or sa ombudsman. The question might be with the courts.
Right. And I guess for my final question, attorney, we've looked at the executive and legislative branches of the government na baka they are in cohorts na sila yung sangkot dyan sa flood control. And now, with the judiciary na, as you've mentioned it, that they might have played a role in not instilling accountability to our institutions or ensuring that changes are talagang nagagawa. And we're supposed to trust the government. Pero ganito yung nangyayari. If you think of it, may pag-asa pa po ba tayo bilang isang bansa? Lalo ngayon na nakikita natin na lubog tayo sa kasakiman at kawalan ng hustisya?
May pag-asa. Of course, may pag-asa. Kasi nga, napakita natin September 21 rally, we have the numbers. Napakita naman ng INC tsaka ng DDS kahit paano that they also have the numbers. Kaso syempre, iba lang yung angle nila nung una. But eventually, naging general yung panawagan nila. Lahat ng sangkot dapat managot. So, the public should just continuously pressure, and that's why I urge everyone to attend sa November 30 rally because warm bodies and numbers mean something. No? Ang mga politiko, nakikinig pa din yan at takot yan kapag nakita nila na malawakan at massive ang mga rally or mga demonstration. And they care about their reputations. Maliliit ang ego ng mga yan. They are very sensitive to public opinion. So, when public opinion goes a certain way, makikinig sila. Of course, it just has to be massive. Kailangan talaga malawakan. Otherwise, they can say, wala yan, konti lang yung mga nagsasabi. So, it has to be almost universal. We have to be united. There has to be consensus na lahat ng sangkot dapat mapanagot, makulong, makonvict as long as there's evidence. At kung may evidence tapos hindi na-convict, that's questionable. Diba? That's questionable. Dapat magkaroon ng ganong public pressure din na hindi dapat mapawalang sala yung mga nakasuhan because the evidence is there.
Right. And on that note, thank you so much, attorney. And siguro para ang bigat ng mga usapan natin, siguro dapat medyo lighten up muna natin ang usapan with this segment na ganito kasi ang fast thoughts. So, hindi na lang to basta, I don't know, mga happiness or chocolate sa tanungan, but medyo socio-political. But again, I think marami rin kayong masasabi sa mga personal nating aming babanggitin and I just need to hear your quick thoughts on them. So, again, question lang, and then pangalang sasabihin, and yun, as quick as you can, but take your time na rin po. Okay. First round. In 1 to 3 words, how would you describe Rodante Marcoleta?
Rodent.
Vince Dizon.
Aging.
Namumuti na yung buhok. Oo nga. Sara Diskaya.
Michael V.
Ako pa isa lang, mahilig sa Coke. Arjo Atayde. Artista. Jamie Cruz.
Unfair. Unfair, I think, yung ibang bashing.
Right. And
kasi
siguro,
ano kasi hindi na hindi na constructive, hindi na based on the real issue. Ano lang ad hominem.
Ad hominem.
So ako, hindi ko masyado gusto yung mga ganun.
Right. And yun din, parang nalilist tayo. But second round, nasa Senate hearing tayo, Senator Falsis. Ano ang tanong mo kay Zaldico?
Ang tanong ko sa kanya, nasa na yung 11 na maleta or 12 na maleta na iniwan ni Orly Gutesa sa 56th floor na condo unit mo kung totoong wala kang kinubra.
Right. Baka dinala niya na sa Portugal. Si Jinggoy Estrada po, anong tatanungin nyo?
Bakit safe ka? Dati ka pa hindi safe.
Ako iba yung tatanong ko pero kismis na yun.
Anong tatanong mo?
Sino ba talaga mahilig ba talaga sa okay, baka maabangan ako dito. Lucas Bersamin.
Sinong tumawag sa'yo? Who called you?
Actually, nakita ko yung post doon. Orly Gutesa.
Nasaan ka na? Nasaan ka?
Where na yun? Amy Marcos.
Marcos ka ba?
Gets. And for the last round, ano yung magiging si Madam Zenaida Seba tayo dito? Anong hula mo naman, attorney, for 2026 sa kapalaran ni Bongo?
Bongo, either nakakulong na yan sa ICC or nakakulong sa flood control.
Kay Martin Romualdez.
Baka delaying tactics. Naka-lawyer up yan. Na madami siyang lawyers or law firm. And then, yung kaso niya, kung ano man yung kaso niya, dragging.
Pending.
Will be dragged.
Parang yung dati niyang mentor, si Gloria. Baka magkaganon yan.
Basta, he will lawyer up. Yun yung number one tactic.
Right. Cheese Escudero. Favorite niyo to?
Malungkot. Magiging malungkot siya, 2026. Ngayon pa lang, malungkot na siya eh. So, next year, mas malungkot.
Ako, wala ko maano yung kaso niya. Maano yung kaso niya sa inyo. Wala ko lang yun. Sara Duterte.
Anong prediction ko?
Right.
She will continue to destabilize. She will continue to try to become president.
But will she be impeached? Okay, February na.
Everybody will try. So, she will try to not be impeached and destabilize the government. And those who are against her will try to impeach her.
And last person, Bongbong Marcos.
He will try. He will try to survive. Like GMA, despite all the scandals and issues panahon ni GMA was never ousted or forced to resign because the vice president then was also unacceptable to many of the middle class and the majority of Filipinos. So BBM will try to continue to survive and ride out his term to 2028.
But do you think kaya niya pa? May fighting chance. May bubuga pa si BBM.
50-50.
50-50. Alright. And once again, maraming salamat, attorney, for this very, very fruitful conversation. And I hope marami yung naliwanagan and at least napaalala ulit kung gaano kabigat and karaming sakit sa ulo tong nangyayari sa bahay natin. And sana may makuha pa ding pag-asa din sa atin, sa bansa natin pagdating na 2026 and on. And I'd like to take this opportunity if may gusto po kayong promote social media pages and causes and all, go ahead, sir.
So I would just like to invite everyone to the November 30 rally. We have to show up, presence and numbers count. Hindi pwedeng sa social media lang tayo lagi. We have to participate with people and we have to create a united front. Laging may pag-asa dahil basta merong mga kabataan ng pag-asa ng bayan, hindi tayo titigil sa pag-demand at sa pagkamit ng mas magandang kinabukasan. That's why meron laging pag-asa dahil basta merong mga kabataan na handang makipaglaban para sa kanilang kinabukasan, merong pag-asa. So makisali kayo, makibaka, and see you on November 30.
Right. And again, Podmate, see you bukas sa November 30 sa pangmalawakang rally natin sa People Power Monument. And kung nagustuhan nyo itong episode na to, why not i-share nyo sa mga social media platform para mas marami pang makanood. Tag nyo kami sa GKY Pod. Ako, it's LNCRVDA on Spotify. And stream nyo rin to sa YouTube. Naglalabas kami ng episodes every Wednesday and Saturday. And also on Spotify, hit nyo yung notification bell, rate nyo yung 5 stars, select nyo to, mag-comment kayo. And huwag nating kakalimutan, lahat ng sangkot dapat managot. Kaya dapat ikulong na yung lahat ng mga kurakot. At ito pa rin ang Ganito Kasi Yan.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.